Hi guys, it's Adria. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time dropping by. Today I am coming at you guys with a bit of a paranormal story time, and I have some live footage. I think I was possibly attacked by a ghost the other day, and I mentioned this the other day on my Twitter, and some people were like, story time? So I thought I would share a bit of a new paranormal experience in my new apartment. Yeah, if you like these sort of things, it's Halloween-y time, so pause the Nightmare Before Christmas, grab your hot chocolate, get a ghost peep, throw it in the hot chocolate. Let's just get into this. I moved into this new apartment back in January of this year. I had some bad experiences at my old place, and like at my old apartment I did that fake satanic ritual thing, which some people were oddly offended by that. They were like, don't do that. And I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. I mean, it was dumb of me to do, but, you know, like, calm down. It doesn't really affect you. You know, when I moved to this place, people were jokingly like, Adria, don't do any satanic rituals in your new apartment. And I was like, okay. It's funny, I kind of look like an angel today, or like Mercy from Overwatch. When I think I'm Mercy, but I'm actually Junkrat. So, at first, I thought my new apartment was good. I was like, oh, okay, this is nice, nothing's happening. But some stuff started to go weird. One of the first things I noticed were the lights flickered a lot. I know this can be a sign of ghosts. It can also be a sign of shitty electric. You're probably like, Adria, you dumbass, you live in a cheap apartment. First of all, I live in a condo. Second, yeah, you know what, it's probably, you know, shitty electric. The guy would come, I'd be like, oh yeah, the lights flicker, it's really weird, and he would look, and he would kind of give me the look like, you dumb bitch, why am I here? I would feel kind of salty, but, you know, stuff like that, I don't know. Then there was that whole thing when my stove exploded, and I did a video about that. It was mostly just to be funny. First world problem story time, where like, hey guys, my stove exploded, which was really weird. Even when the guy came to repair it, he was like, I've never seen anything like this before, which again, you know, it could be just a shitty stove. Long story short, I was boiling water one day, and the stove just literally the stovetop exploded. A metal shard went flying, which could have knocked an eye out. I even jokingly said to the stove repair guy, I'm lucky to still be alive. Yeah. And you know, I don't want people to think that this is me just being dramatic. Do I believe in ghosts? Yes and no. There are people that are like, no, I don't believe in ghosts. And then there are people like, yes, 100% I believe in ghosts. I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle. I feel like it would be too easy to just dismiss it and be like, nope, not a ghost. Whether or not you believe in something, you have to consider why people believe in it to begin with. That's kind of where I think when I think of ghosts. So this happens from time to time, and I know that this is something that can be from ghosts, is my closet door opens and closes by itself, which is really weird. And at first I was like, oh, am I just not closing the door all the way? Is it like squeaking open? But I will pull the thing shut, hear the click. I won't be doing anything to it, and it'll be like, Meh. And not only does it open by itself, it closes by itself, which is like, maybe the hinges need some oil. I don't know, girl, but maybe Casper's trying to escape. I really don't know. This was probably one of the scariest things that happened. So I was home alone. I was sitting over in my living room area. My living room and my kitchen are kind of the same room, and I'm here by myself, so it was just me and my cat Frida, that's it. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, it sounded like something was thrown into my sink. If you're standing in your kitchen, you kind of like toss a bowl into it or toss a fork. I don't recommend doing that because you can break stuff. You know, if you just kind of like play sink basketball, you can throw, it sounded like somebody threw something in it. I was like, and even Frida was like, it was so odd. And the weird part was there wasn't even anything in the sink. Am I all right? Did Casper just have a bowl of Lucky Charms? I don't know what happened. It was really weird. I don't really know how to explain that, because it was definitely my sink. It definitely wasn't anyone upstairs. Believe me, I know the sound of my people upstairs. I know it very well. Then there's also this whole thing, people think that cats can possibly see ghosts. This is a whole internet thing. And people think that cats can see spirits or see ghosts. And my cat Frida constantly is looking up at this one corner in my apartment, just staring there, and I'm like, what are you looking at? And if your cat does this, let me know. It's freaky. It's like, what are they looking at? And even if it's not a ghost, it's like, what are you looking at? Cats are weird. And Frida is the most responsive cat I have ever come in contact with. She knows her name. If you say her name, she'll turn and look at you, she'll come over to you. And when she's doing it, I'll say her name and she just will continue to stare at it, almost like she's in a trance. A lot of people are like, I think my cat can see ghosts, so it's possible. Cats are weird. I mean, they always land on their feet. They have scratchy tongues. Their eyeballs look like glass. So if anyone can see a ghost, it would probably be a cat. Okay, I just want to say this. At this apartment and at my last one, I rarely ever hear neighbors through the walls. The most of what I can hear is the people upstairs, and it's because their child, I swear, never sits down. I can never hear people really through the walls, and when I do, it's very quiet, it's very faint. But one day I was in my bathroom and I heard like blood boiling screaming. And I know it's like, Andrea, was your neighbor getting killed? You probably should have found out, but and I know it's like, oh, you want to believe it's a ghost so bad. Like, I do, but also if it was clearly just my neighbor screaming, I wouldn't really be making a big deal out of it. But it didn't sound like a person, and it sounded like it was in my bathroom, if that makes sense. It didn't sound like it was on the other side of the wall. It sounded like it was like in the wall. I know I sound crazy. Hashtag save Adria. I don't know. It was odd. And I was just like, what? And another thing happened by that same wall in the bathroom. The one day, it sounded almost like a phone ringing, but it sounded really warped. It didn't sound like a typical iPhone ringtone. It sounded really like satanic music almost, just inside the wall. And it was just for a split second. It wasn't very long, and I was just like, either there is some sort of spiritual entity in that section of my bathroom, or I have some pretty weird neighbors. I don't know, it's one or the other. But from what I understand, I don't even think that there's anything attached to that wall. If that makes sense, I feel like the other side of that wall is just outside. I'm pretty sure. I don't know floor plans. Sometimes I would hear this banging outside, almost like someone was shaking something out and it hitting a wall, and I would look and there would be nothing, almost like a tapping noise, just like on the other side of my door. And Frida would look too, and I would look, I would open the door, I would look, and there would be nothing outside. It would sound like it would be right on the other side of the door, just like an odd like someone whacking something against the door. One time Brandon and I were looking for something. I can't remember what it was. I feel like it was like a cup or something. I don't know. Something in our apartment had gone missing and neither one of us knew what happened to it. It was gone for days and we looked everywhere for it, and we don't have a ton of stuff. When something goes missing in our small apartment, it's kind of weird. The one day I wake up and it's sitting there on the counter, and I texted him like, oh, you found it? He was like, wait, what? I thought you put it there. He thought that I put it there because I found it. To like be like, oh, hey Brandon, look, I found it. And we were both just like, some things in life have zero explanation. Honestly, I don't even, what? Unless my mom found it, because you know your mom finds everything. Your mom comes and is like, if I find that, I'm gonna kill you. Maybe my mom snuck here in the middle of the night and found it and put it on the counter, like all moms do. But other than that, I really don't know. And then there's been a few instances where I've woken up in the middle of the night sweating and my throat just dried out and just freaked out. I don't know. And I know that's like, it's probably just stress or whatever, but I don't know. I thought I'd just throw that in there. Weird sleep patterns, being unable to sleep, waking up and your mouth is just dried out and you feel like you can't breathe, like the life has been sucked out of you while you're asleep. That sort of thing, which doesn't happen a lot. That's never really happened to me before. Besides when I think I had sleep paralysis when I was a kid. I don't know. Then that brings me to this recent encounter. The other day, this was 2 days ago, I woke up super late, which is really odd for me. I normally wake up around the same time every day, like 8:30, 9 o'clock is typically when I wake up. I've never been someone to sleep in. You know, some people might be like, sleeping in is not that weird, but for me, it's weird. I don't sleep in. I don't like it. I don't do it. And I kind of have the internal clock, I think everybody does to a degree, where you just wake yourself up at a certain time. For me to wake up at 11 without even really going to sleep late the night before was just really weird. The day was already off to a weird start, and it kind of just had this really weird vibe to it. I can't really put my finger on what was going on exactly, but the day just felt so off and just kind of scary. I don't know, normally I'm fine with being here by myself and doing my own thing, but I felt really just kind of creeped out. I was standing doing the dishes and I swore I saw something out of the corner of my eye, to the point where like I turned and actually looked and stopped what I was doing. I was like, it's like, oh, is it Frida? No, Frida was nowhere to be found. Plus it was like high up, almost like a person, and it just looked like something quickly walking by. I don't know, you know that feeling where you just feel like you're not alone? It happens to me sometimes, but not every day. Like for instance, I'm here alone right now, but I feel like I'm alone. When I feel that feeling of somebody's here, it kind of freaks me out a little bit, and I'm like, I felt that even in my old apartment. Sometimes when I would take a shower when I was home alone, I would have to keep the door open and I'd constantly be peeking out like, is somebody here? It would only be some days, it wouldn't be every day. A skeptic might say, Adria, that's probably just you being paranoid. And to that I would say, you could be right, but also, who really knows? I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. Then I go to take a shower, and at this point I had been awake for hours, 2 or 3 hours at this point. And you know how you have those marks on you if you slept really hard? You kind of get like those marks on your arms. It's like, that's how you know you had a good sleep. This was hours after I had been awake. I go in the bathroom and I look in the mirror and I see these marks all over my arm, which almost looked like scratches, but there weren't clear like nail marks. It almost looked like it had been there. I was like, well, if I had just woken up, I wouldn't think this was that weird. I would think it was from sleeping. There were just these marks on my arm, and it was so bizarre that I took pictures and a quick little video of them. So I will insert those right now for you guys to see. I honestly have no idea what this is from. I really don't know. Yeah, and it was around this section of my arm, and you might say, like, was it from Frida? I hadn't been playing with Frida that morning. Typically I know when Frida scratches me, it kind of stings a little bit, you know, but this didn't feel like anything. Kind of scary, kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I did something without realizing it. I'm clumsy. I don't know. Okay, so I was like, all right, not really gonna think about it, not gonna worry about it. It was there for almost the entire day. I mean, the next day it was gone. Let me know what you guys think about this experience. Maybe you have an explanation for it that I don't have. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Has anything like this ever happened to you? I can't for sure say this was a ghost attack. It definitely is like, what the heck happened? I know for a fact that the house I grew up in was haunted. There's just not a doubt in my mind. I mean, people would come over and just say that it felt weird there. It felt dark. It felt like something was really off. The house really just kind of like sucked a mood out of you, you know? That's really the best way I can explain it. Like, it almost just sucked every bit of joy out of you. I guess I've always considered the idea of stuff being paranormal, or a ghost or a spirit or even like an angel or something like that, but it's kind of hard to say because who really knows? Could this all just be a coincidence? Could this all just be in my mind? Yes, absolutely, that's very likely. I just thought I would share this with you guys because it was a weird experience, especially the mark on my arm the other day, especially because I was home alone and I just didn't really know. I mean, something weird out of the ordinary happens when you're by yourself. You're just like, YouTube, help! So I hope that you guys enjoyed this little paranormal story time today. And if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below. I post videos 2 times a week. You can find me on all my social media down below. Definitely let me hear your thoughts on paranormal things. Patreon shout out of the day to my patron Noah. Thank you so much, Noah, for being a loyal patron. And if you want to be my next Patreon shout out, my Patreon link is down below. I'm gonna work on maybe doing some exclusive Patreon only videos, maybe editing my perks a bit. If any of you guys have any thoughts or feels of what I could do, definitely let me know. I will see you guys again real soon. Until then, happy Halloween. Panda hugs. I love you guys. Bye! I'm either Junkrat or I'm Mercy. There's no healthy middle. I'm one or the other, that's it.